trust, love, and fidelity are the heart of every relationship. However, if these pillars are shaken, the consequences can be tragic and far-reaching. This story delves into the life of Eguye and Adaji, couple whose bond was tested by loneliness and betrayal. Stay with me as I delve into the intriguing story of love, betrayal, deceit, and secrecy. A forbidden affair. Eguye was the wife of Adaji, the son of Akima. Adaji, the second child among 5 siblings of his parents, was exceptionally blessed among his siblings. Through hard work and determination, he earned a first-class degree in engineering from the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. His exceptional academic performance earned him the overall Best Student award among the graduating class. After his 1-year mandatory National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) program, he secured a lucrative job with a renowned Nigerian construction company. However, the nature of his job often required him to be away from home for extended periods, sometimes for a week or 2 at a time. Despite his busy schedule, he made it a priority to maintain open communication with his wife. They spoke 2 to 3 times a day, often through video calls, ensuring they stayed connected despite the distance. Adaji and Eguye's marriage began as a union filled with hope and promise. They tied the knot a year after Adaji graduated from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Eguye, the daughter of Akanehe, an inspector in the Nigeria police, was a beautiful woman whose charm and elegance were admired by many. As a nurse in a private hospital, she was known for her dedication to her patients and poised demeanor. Initially, Eguye found immense pride and comfort in Adaji's accomplishments. His success brought stability and status to their lives, and their early days together were filled with joy and optimism. However, as time passed, the demands of Adaji's job began to strain their relationship. His frequent absences left Eguye feeling isolated and unfulfilled. The long, quiet nights and the lack of companionship began to weigh heavily on her. Despite her efforts to keep herself busy with work and other activities, and Adaji's efforts to stay connected despite the distance, the loneliness was palpable. What began as subtle restlessness grew into an intense yearning for connection. Eguye often reminisced about their early days, longing for the warmth and attention she once had. Over time, this emotional void made her vulnerable to seeking comfort elsewhere, setting the stage for choices that would have devastating consequences. This emotional void led Eguye, 28 years old, to form a bond with their neighbor's teenage son, Karim. Karim, just 18 years old, was a young man with a naive charm that intrigued Eguye. He was the only child of his parents, a brilliant boy who had just completed secondary school with excellent results. Having recently written his JAM examination, Karim was waiting for the results to secure admission into the university. This waiting period kept him home, giving him ample time to interact with Eguye. He was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Adabo Ibrahim. His mother's name was Mariam, and both parents were civil servants. His father worked with the Ministry of Aviation, while his mother was a nurse at the Federal Medical Center in Abuja. What began as casual exchanges of pleasantries soon grew into something more intimate. Despite the significant age difference, they fell into a secret affair. Eguye, blinded by her loneliness and the thrill of the forbidden, ignored the potential consequences of her actions. She was drawn to Karim's youthful energy and found solace in his company, while Karim, in turn, was captivated by Eguye's beauty and attention. For 6 months, their relationship flourished in secrecy. They met under the cover of the night, exchanged clandestine messages, and shared moments of passion that both knew were wrong. However, as time passed, Eguye began to feel the weight of guilt and the moral implications of her choices. Memories of her early days with Adaji and the life they built together haunted her. She planned to end the affair, hoping to restore her commitment to Adaji and make amends for her betrayal. When Eguye informed Karim of her decision to end their affair, his response was far from what she anticipated. The young man is already emotionally entangled and deeply in love. He was consumed by anger and desperation. He confronted her in a heated argument on the balcony of her home. his voice trembling with frustration and disbelief. "You can't just leave me like this. You promised me that this affair was special." Karim shouted, his youthful bravado masking the vulnerability that lay beneath. Eguye, though guilt-ridden, was resolute. "Karim, this was a mistake. I was wrong, and we need to stop this before it destroys both of us." Her words stung, igniting a surge of emotions in Karim. As she turned to walk away, Karim grabbed her arm, pleading for her to stay and talk. Eguye, startled by his sudden grip, struggled to free herself. In the ensuing scuffle, tragedy struck. Eguye lost her footing and fell from the balcony to the ground below, landing with a sickening thud. Karim stood frozen in shock, his hands trembling as he stared down at her motionless body. The weight of what had just happened began to sink in. Panicking, he rushed downstairs and desperately tried to revive her. "Eguye! Eguye! Eguye! Stand up! Stand up! See what you have done to yourself!" he cried, shaking her gently. But it was too late. Eguye was gone. Consumed by fear and unable to think clearly, Karim fled the scene. He ran to his house, his heart pounding as he replayed the incident. Still in shock, he called his mother, Mariam, who was at work. "Mama, I need to leave for the village now," he said, his voice shaky and unconvincing. Mariam, surprised by the sudden urgency, asked why. "You did not discuss this with me this morning. So why the sudden urge to visit your uncle in the village?" she asked. Karim muttered a vague excuse about visiting his uncle. "Mummy, I need to go and see him. I am feeling bored here. I want to see my cousins. It has been a long time. Let me stress my leg a bit." Although skeptical, Mariam reluctantly agreed, giving him a message for his uncle before he left. Karim quickly packed his belongings and boarded the next available bus, putting as much distance as possible between himself and the tragedy. Meanwhile, Adaji returned home that evening, exhausted from work and eager to reunite with his wife. Instead, he was met with a horrifying sight. Eguye's lifeless body sprawled near their gate. His world came crashing down in an instant. Adaji's anguished cries pierced the night as neighbors gathered to console him. He rushed her to the hospital, clinging to a sliver of hope that she could be saved. But the doctors confirmed his worst fears: Eguye was dead. The community was engulfed in turmoil as rumors and speculation spread like wildfire. Who could have been responsible for this tragic incident? And why? Could it have been a case of suicide? Questions swirled relentlessly, yet no one could provide definitive answers. Only two people held the truth: Eguye and Karim. The community was caught in a storm of unanswered inquiries, tension and intrigue hanging in the air. The law enforcement agency was informed about the incident. They immediately launched a swift investigation. Forensic evidence conducted linked Karim to the scene of the incident. Traces of his fingerprints on the balcony, railing and witness accounts of his frequent visits to the house sealed his fate. When Karim was apprehended, he initially denied any wrongdoing. However, under questioning, he broke down and confessed to being present during Eguye's fall. "It wasn't supposed to happen this way," he sobbed. "I didn't mean for her to die, I am sorry." During the investigation, Karim recounted the origins of their relationship, revealing a side of Eguye that shocked many, including his parents. He described how she had initiated their secret affair, persuading him to become her little husband and to keep their relationship hidden. Despite his initial reluctance, Karim admitted to eventually succumbing to her persistence. "I was just a boy," he said, his voice trembling. "I didn't know how to handle it. She said she needed me, that she was lonely. And I believed her." Karim's candid account painted a picture of a misguided youth caught in a web of deception and moral failure. However, it did little to absolve him of responsibility for the tragic outcome. The case went to court, and Karim was charged with manslaughter. The trial attracted significant public attention due to its shocking details. The court proceedings were conducted in 3 sessions. During the first session, the prosecution counsel presented compelling evidence, including forensic reports, Eguye's autopsy, and Karim's confession. Witnesses from the neighborhood were also called to testify about the nature of Karim and Eguye's interactions. One of the witnesses was an aged woman, Hannah, who was often at home and had observed Karim frequently visiting Mr. Adaji's house, especially in the husband's absence. She testified that she once confronted Karim about his frequent visits, and he reluctantly gave a flimsy excuse, saying, "There's nothing special. I am just going there to keep her company anytime she is off work," and mostly due to the husband's absence. In the second session, Karim's defense lawyer argued that the fall was accidental and emphasized Karim as a youth and inexperience. He contested that Eguye's attitude toward his client was an act of child abuse and that she took advantage of Karim's naive nature to mislead him by her deceptive and immoral behavior. Therefore, the case should be struck out. The defense also presented character witnesses, including Karim's parents, who described him as a bright and promising young man with a strong academic record and aspirations for a better future. Adabo Abudu, Karim's father, recounted his son's dedication to his studies and how he was eagerly awaiting admission to the university. Mariam, his mother, tearfully described Karim as a loving and respectful son who had fallen victim to circumstances beyond his understanding. They pleaded with the court to consider the immense pressure and manipulation Karim faced, emphasizing that he had never shown any signs of violence or delinquency before this incident. Their testimonies highlighted the vulnerability of youth and the influence of external factors on their decisions. They pleaded for leniency, highlighting his academic aspirations and clean record. The final session focused on Karim's direct testimony. He described the sequence of events leading to the tragic incident, insisting that it was not his intention to harm Eguye. The court also heard emotional statements from Adaji, who recounted his pain and the impact of the tragedy on his life. After extensive deliberation, the judge concluded that while the fall was not premeditated, Karim's actions leading up to it were reckless and negligent. So, based on the compelling evidence, including forensic reports, Eguye's autopsy and Karim's confession, I conclude that Karim is guilty of the charge and is therefore sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. The tragic incident served as a sobering reminder of the far-reaching consequences of infidelity and poor decisions. Adaji, though deeply scarred, eventually found solace in his work and the support of his family. He vowed to honor Eguye's memory by living a life of integrity and resilience. While the pain of loss lingered, the lessons from their story resonated with those around them, urging others to cherish trust and fidelity in their relationships. This tale is a testament to the complexity of human emotions and the importance of making choices that reflect our highest values. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like, comment, subscribe and click on notification bell for more interesting videos just like this on this channel.